This meeting is being recorded.
Did you know that small and medium-sized enterprises represent 99% of all businesses in the EU and account for 70% of all jobs? Close to 45% of GDP in the EU was generated by IPR-intensive industries. SMEs are the motor of the EU economy. Their potential to boost employment and drive future innovation, two key priorities for the European Union, should not be overlooked. SMEs are particularly present in innovative industries such as clean technologies, healthcare, ICT, etc. Today, more and more SMEs are looking for business opportunities in emerging markets. Many of those companies are considering China, Southeast Asia, and Latin America as potential destinations. Trade relations between the EU and emerging markets have taken a new turn with the ongoing negotiation of FTAs and investment agreements. These regions are attractive destinations for European investors, with their fast-growing markets, rising middle classes, and competitiveness. Due to limited resources and available capacity, SMEs face many difficulties in managing their IP assets, and particularly when this involves IPR infringement in other regions. Intangible assets such as intellectual property rights are key factors in the competitiveness of businesses in the global economy. We have to be aware that IPR-intensive industries contributed 86% of imports and 93% of exports to EU external trade. And in developing markets such as Southeast Asia, Latin American countries and China, your trademark, patent, trade secret, industrial design are endangered. Before internationalizing your business, take an active part in protecting your assets. The International IPR SME Helpdesks are here to assist you and contribute to SMEs' internationalization by the provision of step-by-step advice to build a successful IPR strategy for entering into the Chinese, Southeast Asian and/or Latin American markets. The range of services offered by the Helpdesk includes a 24-hour helpline service to reply to IPR questions, free online and on-site trainings delivered by IPR experts, free publications on various IPR topics and country fact sheets, and other useful information forms such as case studies, e-learning modules, video podcasts, and more. So if you have any inquiries on IP protection, contact the Helpdesk in China, SEA, or Latin America to learn how to manage your IP assets and expand your business successfully.
Good morning, Europe, and good afternoon to those in Asia. Welcome to our webinar brought to you by a nice collaboration from the Southeast Asia IP SME Helpdesk project, Greenerg-Pro project, and the Central Eastern European Chamber of Commerce. We are very happy to have you with us today and we will be talking about IP and public procurement for green businesses in Vietnam. My name is Nora and I will be today's webinar moderator. I am, by the way, Hungarian, and I'm very happy to have this Central Eastern European collaboration today. So let me quickly introduce you to the panelists of today's webinar. So we have with us Vlad Savin, Vice Chairman of the Central Eastern European Chamber of Commerce, Manh-Hung Tran, External Expert of the Southeast Asia IP SME Helpdesk and Managing Partner at Baker McKenzie Vietnam, Eva Domke, Deputy Director at IMP-PAN, which stands for Institute of Fluid Flow Machinery, Polish Academy of Sciences. And then we also have with us Patricia Merei, Archenerg cluster, and Mirjana, Kranjac, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, Project Manager at Ecopanonia cluster. So we will have a long webinar, so let's don't waste time and move to the agenda. I will start with a very quick introduction about the project services. Then Vlad will introduce you to the Central Eastern European Chamber of Commerce and give you some tips related to Vietnam market. Then Mr. Hung will talk to you about IP consideration when bidding for green projects in Vietnam. Then we will continue with a presentation on procurement by Eva Domke. And after that, we will have the cluster representatives talking about their cluster and also about some internationalization plans for the clusters. And then we will wrap up with a Q&A. So if you have any questions during the webinar, we encourage you to use the chat box and we will answer your questions at the end live. So don't feel shy to send any questions or comments. Okay, and yes, very quickly. So the Helpdesk is an initiative of the European Commission to support small and medium-sized enterprises to protect and enforce their intellectual property rights in relation to Southeast Asia. We cover the 10 ASEAN countries. All services that we offer are free of charge. So I am especially happy for today's webinar because I think that Greenerg-Pro project network is interested in Vietnam market, and for sure they may have in the future some questions on IP. So I think it's a good way to provide some basic tips on IP protection, and later on they know where to find us if they have any concrete questions. So they can contact us by email or join our trainings that we organize across the year, online or on site. And also we have a wide range of publications that you can download from our website. And then without any further ado, I would now like to give the floor to our first speaker, Vlad, to talk about the Central Eastern European Chamber of Commerce. Over to you, Vlad.
Thank you so much, Nora, and good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be part of this webinar and hopefully share some interesting information with you about business in Vietnam and about what it means as a European business to be part of the Vietnam cross-border trade and the Vietnam endeavor as it is now as in 2022. I'll start my slides first, if you give me a second. I hope everyone can see the slides. Perfect. So I'll start first with an introduction on the Central Eastern European Chamber and myself to give you a brief on what we do and how we can support European companies here in Vietnam and the other way around, Vietnamese companies in Europe. And then I will finalize with a few practical insights about business in Vietnam, myths, realities, and things to look out for, things to watch out for, and understand a bit of the particularities of the business environment here in country. I'll start first with a quick introduction on myself. My name is Vlad Savin. I'm originally from Romania. I've been in Asia for close to 10 years and in Vietnam over 4 years. I'm vice chairman at the Central Eastern European Chamber of Commerce and head of business development at Client Vietnam. Client Vietnam is a consulting firm supporting international investors with understanding Vietnam, entering the market in Vietnam, and maintaining their successful business endeavors here. Now, moving forward to the Central Eastern European and what we do. So as I mentioned, we're a non-profit organization. We are a business community supporting businesses from the CEE region. We represent 15 countries. And we help them understand the Vietnamese business environment, and we help them connect with each other under a community which is the CEEC here in Vietnam. We have an office in Hanoi and one in Ho Chi Minh City as well. And our goals are to maintain and build these active communities so that the information from the members gets shared efficiently and easily. We also prepare newcomers and businesses looking into Vietnam to understand how they can kickstart their operations with different guides and different business setup functions that we have for them. And we also enable our current members to network, to know each other and to exchange information with each other so they can grow together. Referrals networking, business consulting. These are the key areas, and the most important part is really to ensure that the members do have access to the right information that makes sense for the region where they come from the CE and Vietnam as well. A few details on our members and our membership here. These are the countries at the bottom representative for our membership. We have Austria, Poland, Hungary, where we have the most members, but we have as well from Romania, Bulgaria, Czech Republic, and Vietnam as well. The sectors that we cover, they're quite broad, starting with recruitment, going back to pharma. We have three quite large pharma corporations from the CE region that are our members here. Accounting and tax, green technology, renewables, FMB, you name it. So it's quite a diverse spread. These are a few logos here, and maybe some of you may know them. So you can see here Swarovski, you can see here Home Credit, quite a famous unicorn in East Europe there. Adamed from Poland, a large pharma company. We do have business organizations representative of countries like Czech Trade and the Polish Investment Center as well as members, and we work with them together as well to support members from these regions here. A few of things about our services, as I mentioned before: networking, business matching, market analysis, sourcing and recommendations with different partners in Vietnam here, which you can potentially do business with, background checks and guides and education business formatted literature for you to really understand the Vietnamese environment and how you can be successful here. And this is our membership. We're part of the EuroCham. EuroCham is a large umbrella chamber here in Vietnam. It encompasses all the European chambers under one umbrella entity, and our membership is included together with the EuroCham membership, and a few details here about the benefits and what they mean for enterprises and how they can take advantage of those. Now, going forward to the interesting part of the presentation here, in my opinion, which is understanding a bit more about the Vietnam story, and then understanding a bit more about the particularities about the practical components of doing business in Vietnam. So I prepared here a couple of infographics for you. I'll go quickly on a few pages and try to emphasize on what's more important. This page looks at the first half of 2022 and data looking at Vietnam. Manufacturing and processing is the leading sector for FDI, for foreign direct investments. The FDI investments grew 8% in the first half of the year compared to the previous year. So that's a very good sign, signaling positive recovery after COVID. Vietnam also climbed from place 91 to place 70 in doing business, ease of doing business rating across the globe. Also, there's a trade surplus here. You can see 6% year-on-year growth, and this signals as well the cross-border trade, the EVFTA, UK FTA, and the Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement that was signed last year. They all work towards boosting the trade surplus for the country. Here's a quick infographic signaling and showing here on the first one on 2022 the remitted FDI capital, what was actually brought into the country in billion USD, 8% higher than the previous year in 2021. So significant growth. Top countries for FDI, the Netherlands here, from Europe and Denmark, you can see, and you have Singapore and South Korea from Asia region. This is a data chart from EuroCham, a bit more expanded. I'll share these slides with you as well after, so you can have a look. It expands a bit on sectors from the European Union that were participating in the FDI in Vietnam. So you can see here IT, water supply, waste treatments. You can see education and training, health and social, agriculture and forestry, and so on. So there's quite a few amount of sectors that are interesting for the EU. I prepared in the next two slides two interesting polls, two interesting inquiries that we did for our community here in Vietnam. And the first one on this page essentially asks our community, what are the challenges for investors doing business in Asia? What challenges do they face when they do business in Asia? And what we've seen is that this matches the exact reality with Vietnam. And the answers here, they're inclined in the majority towards labor laws and HR issues. So when doing business in Vietnam, labor laws and HR issues are one of the more complicated and more tedious issues that investors face when doing business in Vietnam. There's regulations as well, IP protection and enforcement as well, but labor law and HR really stood out from the norm. And here we can look at labor contracts, labor regulations, payroll policy, salary scale, trade union provisions, and even terminating employees in Vietnam. These are all quite important things to note and take care of when doing business in Vietnam. If you have an entity or if you're looking to employ, HR is one of those key things that you need to really look out for while doing business here. The second poll that is quite interesting as well has a different question with a different spin. When you're expanding your business into Asia, what are the challenges then? What are the market entry challenges for European companies to enter Asia? And these match as well with what's happening in Vietnam from our experience here. And Nora or others can confirm later on. The regulations for entering the market in Vietnam and maintaining a business are the ones that are really important to look out for. Tax planning as well, licensing for a bit, but in general is the complex regulatory requirements for entering the market and doing business here. And this refers to, as I mentioned before, labor regulations, accounting and tax compliance, loans, funds transfer regulations, investment approvals, restrictions, and corporate governance. Vietnam is, as you will find out probably soon if you're actually looking to do business here seriously, it is a very paper-driven market, even though digital transformation is on the list for the government to upgrade their policies and the way the compliance requirements work. It's still a paper-driven, it's still a very tedious, bureaucratic compliance system. And that is one of the challenges that businesses have and will have for quite a number of years here in Vietnam. It has a lot of opportunities, and I mentioned before, but it's important for investors to really understand as well what will be those challenges and those practical insights that they need to know for being in the market here. And I'd like to close this my presentation here with the last slide with mentioning 4 points here that some of them are myths or some of them are just not taken seriously by investors when looking into Vietnam. The first one relates to profit repatriation. There's a myth that circulates online for years and years about doing business in Vietnam is hard because it's very hard to get the money out of the country. It's very hard to pay back your profits. And the reality is that it's exactly the opposite. As long as you've paid your taxes, as long as you can show to your bank the financial statements of your corporation that are audited and with the taxes paid, it takes less than a week to transfer any profits, any dividends that you have within your corporation here in Vietnam. So the process is very clear and is very streamlined as well from a banking perspective and tax authority perspective. But that's when you actually follow the law and you actually know what bank accounts you need, and then your company is compliant and your structure here is set up properly and compliant. Another issue we see here is about understanding the need for red receipts and limits on cash payments. So the concept of the red receipt here in Vietnam is quite confusing. It's It's essentially a VAT invoice. It has the red color, that's why it's called the red receipt, and that is issued in order for expenses to be deductible, to have corporate income tax, to have VAT creditable to the company, and then the CIT deducted. These red receipts, these red invoices are important, and when you do business in Vietnam, you'll definitely know about them. Now, invoices as well, they are being rolled out for all new companies that are set up here in Vietnam, but it's important to understand the concept of red receipt as well for if you're doing business here in Vietnam. It's the same with the loans and not registering foreign loans when you're doing business here in Vietnam. The State Bank of Vietnam has specific requirements and processes for short-term loans, medium-term, and long-term. And it's really important to understand how they work and which bank accounts you can use to access these loans, to transfer them into Vietnam and then pay them back out of Vietnam as well. The OLA, offshore loan account, or the direct capital account, direct investment capital account, as it's called here. And as well, the tax registrations. This is really important to really understand if you're doing business in Vietnam. If you have an official presence, it's important to undertake your tax registrations as soon as possible, because any delays can create some tedious issues later on with the registrations and with the VAT credit systems. And I'd like to end my presentation here with a note that Vietnam business environment is focused in the majority towards FDI and towards foreign investors. The government and the authorities are looking to attract foreign investments in Vietnam, and the policies that they have are supportive for foreign investors. If you look at low capital requirements, if you look at very small restrictions on the majority of sectors and business lines that you can do business here in Vietnam, so you can have 100% foreign ownership for businesses here. But in the same time, it's important for investors to understand that there is a complex regulatory system, and you should be aware of the small details that in the end become quite important when you do business in Vietnam here. So thank you for your attention, and if you need any support from the CEC with your endeavor here in Vietnam, please reach out to me. These are my contact details. Back to you, Nora.
Thank you, Vlad. Very, very interesting presentation, and I think it prepared the ground for the next session, where we will go into more specific details regarding the regulatory situation, especially intellectual property rights. So now I would like to invite you, Hung, to take the floor and tell more to our attendees on this very relevant topic.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nora. So everyone, you hear a lot of good tips from Vlad about, how to pitch and bid, do bidding in Vietnam. So I'm sure you know where to find him if you have potential proposal for Vietnam. And well, thanks again, Nora, for having me here today. I'm so glad that you picked a very important and crucial point regarding IPR, because so when people are doing bid or pitching for new project in Vietnam, like green project in Vietnam, is something that Vietnamese government is trying to encourage more from Europe. People often talk about or think about low price or maybe costing, labor issue or other technical stuff, but they seem to forget about one crucial point is the IPR, which may add a lot of values to your bidding proposal. So that's why with Nora's support, I'm giving you some tips, some guidance, from IPR perspectives in order for you in future, when you pitch in Vietnam for green project, you will add on a lot of values from your IPR perspectives. So with that in mind, I will talk about IPR consideration when bidding for green project in Vietnam, and let me share my screen. So can you see my screen? Nora, can
yes,
you
perfect. Yes,
excellent.
Perfect.
Thank you. So actually, for the purpose of my presentation, I'm supposed to cover 4 topics. but being mindful about the time constraint, I would jump directly to IP implication and then share with you some tips and guidance on IP strategies for green business. So bear it with me, and let's jump to IP implication first. Right. So as I mentioned and Vlad alluded before, Vietnam is trying to encourage more proposal, more pitch in green business to Vietnam, because Vietnamese government, very soon they realize that in order to attract for high quality investment to Vietnam, so it's very important to encourage, we call eco-friendly environmental protection or green business. So with that in mind, they do have some incentives policy, and Vlad also touch upon some of the do and don'ts when pitching in Vietnam. But my role is to give you a very practical idea, practical approach, how to best sell your proposal from the IPR perspective. So consider different factors like costing, labor, customs, and everything. So now after my presentation, you may consider, oh, why not giving or selling a bit more from IPR's perspective. So maybe you have a patent, you have a good trademark, or maybe you have a trade secret, or even you have a copyright, and put that in your proposal and make it a better version for you to be more competitive, when you pitch in Vietnam. So as you can see here in the screen, the incentives policy, actually it do encourage development of the innovative, eco-friendly products and services. But as you know, in the market, due to the innovative and first to the market in nature of such products and services, sometimes you are hazy to bring to markets your new products, new services, which you consider like green or environmentally friendly, and then you may forget whether you already have something called IP being protected under Vietnamese law. And of course, though products and services are easily to be reproduced or copied by your competitors, or even by other peers in the market. So that's why it's so essential for original developers, bidders of this product and services, to equip themselves with protection granted by the Vietnam IP law, so that you can have a suitable mechanism against the unauthorized use of your reproduction or commercialization of your innovative solution. So IP law can also provide a framework under which innovation can be shared, commercialized and further developed. So this in-depth demands a sufficient understanding of what can be protected under Vietnamese IP law, what can be the preconditions for such IP protection, what rights are accorded to the right holders, and as well as what remedies it can take in order to take actions against infringement, to make your pitches more competitive to the Vietnamese project owner. So with that in mind, in the next 15 or 20 minutes, I will dedicate to deliberate those questions, as well as the relation or nexus between green business and IPR relevant objects. So here are the IP implications. Actually, before I go deeper with the IPR implication, let me give you some basic principles about what amount to the concept of IPR subject under Vietnamese law. So when we talk IPR subject, we talk about three main components. First, it's about copyright and related right. Second is about industrial property right. And last but not least, we talk about plant variety right. So without going into details, copyright and related right is mean works or performances or phonograms, video recording, or even encrypted program carrying satellite signals. For industrial property rights, it's really about patent. I will talk a bit more later on, and how you should get your patent registered in order to include it in your proposal, bidding proposal. industrial design, trade secret, trademarks, trade names, and GI, as well as layout design of integrated circuits. And last but not least, is about plant varieties. So now copyright, and I will pause a little bit when we talk about how we can use the software as one of the tools in order to make your bidding proposal more attractive in Vietnam. So copyright, what it is. So copyright is a right of organization, individuals to works created or owned by that organization or individuals. So copyright actually established automatically upon creation and materialization and not subject to registration. So two conditions to be able to qualify as copyright to be protected here in Vietnam. First, it has to be a work. It means it can be like literacy, journalism, or computer programs. And then it has to be original. It means you cannot copy from anyone else. It must be original. So technologies such as software programs, and including those that support application built around AI, machine learning, or deep learning, help you to successfully transition into green future or involve sophisticated computer programs. So if I can take one example, AI applications are already being used to control, traffic light, traffic jam, or reduce commute times, and generates like fuel saving, promotes public safety, and minimize food waste, and optimize manufacturing processes, and agricultural food ecosystem. So those things you can use to show to the Vietnamese project owner that you have your cutting edge software programs to support you in realizing the project in Vietnam. It should be very attractive. So by and large, the software programs can be protected under copyright law in Vietnam. And of course, you may ask, why not patent? Because you have software being patented in the USA, but why not in Vietnam? And of course, we can deal with that later on. All right, so let me move on to patent, and this is quite important. So what do patents protect? In short, it should be a technical solution that are in the form of products or processes and resolve specific problems by utilizing the law of nature. Unlike copyright, patent will be protected upon registration. So here is the summary about invention patent as well as utility solution patent. For invention patent, the term for protection will be 20 years. And in order to be qualified as a patent protection in Vietnam, of course, you have to meet like 3 conditions here. First, it must be novel, it means new. And then secondly, it needs to be involving with inventive steps. And last but not least, it needs to be industrial application. So unlike invention patent, utility solution patent, the term for protection is shorter, only 10 years. And in order to be qualified as a utility solution patent, and then it must be novel. It's not an uncommon knowledge. And of course, like patent, it must be able to for industrial application. Again, here are some of the non-patentable subject matters under Vietnamese IP law, like discovery, scientific theories, mathematical methods, scheme plans, or presentation of information, or like plant varieties, animal breed, and disease prevention. Things like this are not patentable under Vietnamese law. So software invention is more actually, it's an abstract idea and claim under the designation of computer programs or software may not be eligible for patent protection under Vietnamese law and practice right now, even though in the patent examination rules or internal guidance adopted by Vietnam IPO, they have some exception, but by and large, the software program itself are not protected as patent, very much unlike US system. So software invention should be claimed, as a intangible form to be patentable, like computer readable medium, like, short storage medium or method for operating a data system, or apparatus for data processing. In that case, software may be qualified as a patent registration, but it's very untested in Vietnam, not like US. Again, here's some of the example of the eco-friendly patented innovation in Vietnam for your information. So in future, if you guys from Europe, you want to pitch or bid in Vietnam for green businesses, and make sure that you check your IP portfolio to see if you have any patent, any eco-friendly patented innovation in Vietnam, and make sure that you include that patent in your proposal, as I mentioned, to make it very attractive to the developer in Vietnam. So here on the left-hand side is about the water-saving planter by Mr. Nguyễn Quang Ngọc. The planter mimics the 3-story structure of the Amazon forest, including like soil, air, and water. So this innovation can save around 80% of water, 60% of labor, and more than 60% of energy. On the right-hand side, I'm talking about VHI 18B, solid, waste incinerator, can safely dispose of medical waste without, generating toxic substances. So this innovation has been transferred and installed in many medical establishments and in Vietnam nationwide. So those are some of the examples. Let me move on to the industrial design. So what is the industrial design? It's the specific appearance of a product or part of the assembly into a complex product. So it can be embodied by 2 or 3-dimensional configuration, protection upon registration, like patent as well. So the term of protection is 15 years, and it can be renewed twice in a row for 5-year term for each renewal. So industrial design, as you may know, plays a crucial role in developing and commercializing and uptaking the clean technology and associated, products and services as well. So many improvements in the environmental performance of products involve producing like design that reduce the energy usage, making it possible to strip back hardware elements while retaining an attractive appearance. So remember, if you have any industrial design, in US they call, design patent. So making sure that you put and sell this, or make it like one of the best selling points in your bidding proposal. Here are the protection conditions for your information under Vietnam IP law. So in order to be qualified as an industrial design, it needs to be novel, it needs to be involving in an inventive step, and of course it needs to be susceptible of industrial application as well. So what can be protected as an industrial design? Any awkward appearance, of a product which is necessarily due to the technical feature of the product, they are not qualified to be protected as an industrial design under Vietnamese law. Or any outward appearance of a civil or industrial construction works as well, or shape of products which is invisible. I say invisible during the use of products. So those are the cases where they cannot be protected as industrial design in Vietnam. So let's move to the trade secret. So what's the trade secret? Let me, unlike patent and information protected by trade secret may be used by others if they acquired or develop information independently by themselves. So it means that if you have something you couldn't trade secret, but somebody a third party, if they develop that information independently, they did not copy from your trade secret, and they develop by themselves. And of course, you cannot really, prevent them from developing their trade secret. So again, trade secrets mean information that is obtained from financial, intellectual investment activities. It can be used in business, of course, and not yet disclosed to public. So rights are established upon the lawful, acquirement of the trade secret, and maintenance of its confidentiality. It means that you really have to have measures to protect it, from being exposed to the public. So protection condition, actually, those are the three conditions that you should keep in mind. First of all, it's not a common knowledge. It helps create the commercial advantages for its holder, like trade secret holder, and you need to maintain a important necessary security measures in order to make sure that, as I mentioned, not exposed to third party. Let me move to trademark. So what is the trademark? By law, is it can be any site capable of distinguishing goods and services of one undertaking from those of other undertakings. And of course, Vietnam new IP law, which will become effective next year, and of course, they included new provision on sound mark, and even though sound mark provision, has been effective for quite sometimes, given that Vietnam signed an EVFTA with EU and in adherence, of the CPTPP with other countries. So like patent and design, trademark protection is upon registration, and the term of protection is 10 years and can be renewed multiple times with 10 years term for each renewal. So let me move a bit to, sometimes, simple addition to a word mark, like, a word such as like eco, green, or enviro, or, the use of other eco-friendly elements, like, green color, leaf shape. I can inform customer that a product is, environmentally friendly, but I will talk a bit, how to avoid, being considered as descriptives and greenwashing later on. Well, the certification mark, this is important because you can see on the screen on your right hand side, it's in Vietnam green label, Nhãn xanh Vietnam, or like, Vietnam quality, high quality goods, or Vietnam environment, those are the certification mark. So what the certification mark? So it means a mark which is authorized by its owner to be used by another organization or individuals on the latter goods or services. In other words, in order to certify the following features of goods or services bearing such mark, like origin, materials, mode for production, and quality, accuracy, and safety, and so on. So certification marks, a specific type of mark can also help, your companies from Europe to bolster your environmental credential and support consumer, and of course, supporting you in procuring in the green business proposal in pitching as well. As a certification mark may be used by anyone who can ensure that their products and services meet the standards established by an independent certifier, which may be related to health or safety or the environment. So as mentioned, before, the Vietnam green label can be granted to product and services, whose entity life cycle, causes less harm to the environment than similar product and services. So making sure that, you get some endorsement to use this mark, certification mark, in order to make yourself more attractive when pitching in Vietnam for green business. All right, now let's move to talk a bit more about greenwashing, or how to avoid being ineligible for protection as a trademark in Vietnam. So greenwashing, of course, what is this? It means a misrepresentation of how a product and service is environmentally friendly in Vietnam. And of course, this is, and daunting in Vietnam. And some of the signs which are not qualified for protection in Vietnam, signs that mislead, confuse or deceive consumer about the origin or quality, value, or other characteristics of goods and services. So signs that describe eco-friendliness of goods and services without goods and services being eco-friendly can be ineligible for protection here in Vietnam as the trademark. I think let me jump to the technology transfer and IPR transfer as well. So very often when you are requested to put together a proposal for green business proposal and pitches in Vietnam, of course, one of the high value add point in that proposal is to show that you have your own technology. You are willing to license or transfer your technology, green technology from Europe to Vietnam. And I think that is the best selling point to make you, to maximize your chance of winning your pitch in Vietnam. So basically, what is a technology transfer? It's been transfer or assignment of a given technology through a transfer of ownership. We call assignment, or transfer the right to use it, or we call license a technology. So technology transfer can happen within the territory of Vietnam, or from Vietnam to overseas, and of course from overseas to Vietnam as well. So this is some form of the technology transfer here, like independent technology transfer agreement, or you make capital contribution by technology. You can use this under an investment project. And of course, it comes as a franchise agreement. And of course, you can consider transferring or licensing some of the IP rights in the project that you are pitching to Vietnam. So by and large, tech transfer and IPR transfer may be an important part of your public procurement project, where government can build and strengthen domestic industry through acquiring the technology transfers. I think Vietnam love that, and anything about green technology, they just love it, and that will optimize their chance to win a new green project in Vietnam. So without going into too much details, I put it here, some comparison of some of the special forms for technology transfer, including independent tech transfer, IPR license, or franchise. So regarding the subject matter, it could be technology being solution or processes or know-how, or not necessarily an IP. So you may ask me, what happened if my patent in Vietnam expired? You no longer have your rights over your expired patent. So what about the know-how, created by that patent? So my answer is, if you use that know-how as a technology and you own that, you develop that, and you commercialize that, and of course you can, put it and consider as one of technology. So with the governing law, of course, law on technology transfer, you have to consider some specific law on kind of like technology transfer as well. And for IPR license, of course, IP law is the main law governing that license. And franchise, of course, we have commercial law and decree 75. Right. So what about the level of control of the transferor over the transferee? In case of independent tech transfer, we see a medium, the level here in terms of the control. And for IPR license, the control role is a bit quite low, but for franchise, because you need to maintain your system in Vietnam quite high, then, and we would say that level of control is quite high. So here is the last part of my presentation, and I hope you will enjoy this one. This is actually, it's sort of like a combination of a lot of years practicing as an IP and tech lawyer here for your reference. So if Europe come to Vietnam, try to pitch in the procurement, complicated procurement procedure, but if you come together with a very strategic and highly valuable IPR, and then, as I mentioned, that's the best selling point for you. So in order to keep in that position, of course, you have to do some steps. Now, first of all, try to evaluate your IP portfolio to see what you have in your place, like, patent, maybe software, maybe like copyright, And like trademark, you may have a good trademark and can tell the Vietnamese business like owner that no, we have a good trademark, we have this portfolio, and if we are selected to do your green business in Vietnam, we bring those IPR, very valuable IPR to Vietnam. So if you don't have any IPR in Vietnam, that's too bad. You have to come back to IP Asian lawyers and try to register some of the IPR to make sure that you have something in hand before you procure or take part in the whole procurement procedure. And then, of course, you can consider subscribing to an IP Watch service. In Europe, a lot of brand owners, and they do subscribe to IP Watch service, and they know exactly what who are copying your IP product in Vietnam, and then you can take action immediately. And you can use IPR, particularly trademark and in Vietnam in the pitch as well. From time to time, don't take it for granted. You have to revisit your brand enforcement strategies and see what may do, what may work here, what may not work in Vietnam, because over time, over year, enforcement strategies remain in the state of flux, and we have to adopt and adapt. And last but not least, you need to take prompt action against infringer and infringing activities in Vietnam. And of course, very often you say that, well, we need to get some business in Vietnam first before we do this thing, Mr. Hong, because it's quite costly, filing a trademark, a patent may cost me a fortune, revisiting brand enforcement strategies, I need to hire a lawyer to do that. Oh, that's so expensive. But again, one step back, sometime, as I hear from Vlad, the tips is so good from him about do and don't. But, from my part, as an IP and tech lawyer, I would say that, come to Vietnam, take part in the procurement procedure with some valuable IPR asset. So with that, I hope you will win more projects here, making you look good, because Vietnam is trying to attract and own more green business to Vietnam. So Nora, I pause it here, and I hope people follow my presentation, and I'm happy to take Q&A in the last part of our webinar. Over back to you, Nora.
Oh, yes, thank you very much for a very insightful presentation. And just a reminder for the participants that we will be sharing the slides. So in case you want to double check any information, you will be able to access also this presentation later on. And if you have any questions or you would like to receive any clarification on the points mentioned earlier, feel free to send a question in the Q&A box. And then now we will move to the next presentation, where Eva will be talking about procurement. So over to you, Eva, now.
Thank you. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone. While I will be talking, I will also be sharing my screen. Hope it works. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see, not yet on full screen. So please put it on full screen.
Yes, I need to just get rid of the account. Okay, here. And now?
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. So I can start now. So once again, thank you, Nora, for introducing me and for the invitation to give the presentation at the webinar. For the start, the good news is that, of course, that we could say recently, in August previous year, the European Union and Vietnam made a big step in opening their economies towards each other. And the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement has significantly reduced tariffs on goods exported from EU to Vietnam. And they are going to be completely abolished by 2030. And on the other hand, the EU will remove their tariffs by 2027. And moreover, the Vietnamese market is open for services offered by European companies and businesses from the EU. and EU businesses can participate in public procurement processes in Vietnam. And the country has a very high potential in public procurement. So there is a huge of investments already made and in plan in the coming years. And these investments are funded directly from the state budget, or there are also special international programs. It's called, the biggest one is called Official Development Assistance, and it's run by a number of financial organizations, such as the Asian Development Bank or the World Bank Group. And the main sectors that are covered by this procurements are energy, environment, education, telecommunications, transport, civil aviation, and financial services. So you can see that energy and environment is one of the first place sectors to be invested and financed. So regarding the rules of regulations of procurement in Vietnam, they are becoming more and more in line with the European ones. Vietnam is classified as a developing country, so many of the provisions of the free trade agreement with the EU are very beneficial to the country, to Vietnam, such as, for example, the 15-year transition period during which the country is obliged to bring its public procurement standards in line with those of the countries in the general procurement agreement. So they will be, during the next 15 years, unified with the international procurement standards, but already they have many regulations similar to that we know from our countries. There are two main procurement models: a centralized model that is carried out during the government, national government, ministries, and also local authorities. And decentralized, carried out by any kind of agencies, organizations, and other entities that are obliged or just want to use public procurement regulations. And there are four main legal documents that the public procurement is based on in Vietnam. They are all from years 2013 to 2015. There is a law on bidding and law on public investment, and a decree regulating public-private partnership investments. And there are four main categories of investment projects that are under procurement. There are four groups: the biggest national projects on the highest level, and then three ABC groups of projects. And there is a kind of specification list or a checklist, which if any feature of the investment that is going to be under procurement process, if any category from the list is on the list, then this project would be assigned to any of these 4 groups. And the law also indicates a number of forms of public-private partnerships, and all of them are in detail described in the decree on public-private partnership investment from 2015. And there are different phases of procurement procedure, and they are of course similar to other procurement procedures in European Union. So first there is a bidding planning, defining the procurement, the budget, the way of conducting the tender, schedules, and so on. And this plan must be approved by the so-called authorized person. This person is named in the bidding law and has the right to make any binding decisions on during the whole procedure, tender procedure. Then we have the invitation based on the bidding planning, and this invitation must be also approved. And again, in the invitation, we have all the criteria and procedures that the tenderers are obliged to comply with. And then there is the work for the tenderers, for the bidders. They have 30 days to prepare and submit their bids. And it may also, very often it may also be necessary to also to present a bid guarantee. And after these 30 days, the bid opening takes place, and the details on the time and place of this are also defined in the bid invitation. And bid evaluation, also based on the bid invitation, everything is described there. And during the evaluation, the assessment price can be also determined, which comes out also from the law on bidding. And everything that is decided after the evaluation must be approved again by the authorized person, and it is announced publicly, and then the contract will be concluded with the bid winner. And if for any reason it doesn't take place and the contract is not signed, the next ranked bidder can be invited to sign the contract. Where can we find information on public procurement invitations? Most of them are in Vietnamese language, in Vietnamese publications. There are some Vietnamese newspapers and some websites dedicated to public procurement. And those procurements which are international, they are always in Vietnamese and English version. But the national ones are usually or always only in Vietnamese. Those projects who are implemented or funded or co-founded by the ODA formula by the World Bank Group or Asian Development Bank, they also publish the announcements, the invitation on their websites. Okay, what is worth to know before we start? We take part in the bidding procedures in the procurement in Vietnam. Of course, Vietnamese culture is different than from European culture, but still, compared to other Asian countries, it seems that relations are more important. So the business partners in Vietnam, they put more value on personal relations and contacts. So there's more openness. What is also important is to be not completely anonymous when taking part in the procurement procedure. It's good to get in touch, to have contact with the potential procurers before, to get interest in their operational in their businesses, and establish some relations before the tender has been announced. Of course, the tenders need to be transparent and objective, the results, but still it's good to have some initial contacts before, maybe to better understand what the tenderer expects and what and just to prepare the bid offer as good as possible. And what is interesting, that the final terms of the contract with the winning bidder not end only by signing the contract, but there is still some room for negotiations on the final price or other conditions. So this is this may happen after the official announcement of the tender results. When it comes to energy sector, so of course all those regulations, they are general and they apply to the whole to all sectors in the economy of Vietnam, but still we need to know that energy systems and energy grids and energy storage, renewables, this is the field where the government of Vietnam is strongly focusing on. So in the coming years, we shall expect a lot of public procurements in these fields, and of course these big ones on governmental level, but also in regions and local communities. So I think this is the reason why Vietnam, and after we have heard the presentation before, I think that Vietnam is worth, if you thought already about investing and building business relationship in Vietnam with Vietnamese partners, I hope that this webinar will just confirm that you are right. If you haven't thought about this so far, I hope we could draw your attention to this country and the opportunities that it gives. And the third reason is that Vietnam is a very beautiful country. So there is, I think there is a lot of motivations that should bring you to Vietnam. Thank you very much, and back to you, Nora. I will just.
Thank you, Eva, for this very practical presentation and very nice closing remarks. So yeah, let's go for the next one, and I think that will be with Patricia to talk about Archenerg cluster. So here we will share the screen and you will be able to control it. So let's try. And now we will hear about the Greenerg-Pro project, which is a European initiative as well from the European Innovation Council and SME Executive Agency. Yes, the screen is on full screen. So yes, can you move the slides, Patricia? You are still muted.
Okay. Thank you very much and welcome everyone. Good morning and good afternoon now. Almost good afternoon here in Europe as well. I'm really pleased to give this presentation. I'm really happy that the Southeast Asia IP SME Helpdesk helped us in having this event happen. And of course, the Commission as well. Our project officer, Iker IRB, attended the meeting so far, but now he needed to leave. But so far, he really enjoyed this webinar. So let's talk about this project, Greenerg-Pro. This project, okay, let's move back. This project is supported by the so-called COSME program. The full title is Boosting Untapped Green Business Development in Public Procurement in the Middle East and Asia. In this project, we are 3 clusters on board, and we target Israel, Taiwan, Vietnam, and Singapore market with the main aim to improve our members to access the public procurement funding in these countries. Obviously, we would like to enhance the cluster members' capacities and the cluster capacities as well to provide better and more targeted support to our member who could be then aware and understand and build knowledge on public procurement in these countries. This is not the first project in terms of internationalization. We have already completed 2 projects previously, which targeted Asia and Middle East as well. So let's say this project is well rooted. Earlier, we were able to involve more than 350 companies towards these target markets. In our current project, the main differentiations that in the focus there is the public procurement, so not just in general the business development and the internationalization, but to lead our members to successful public procurement. The consortium members will introduce their activities, so as we are a bit late, now I will not introduce them, but we will do it later. In a nutshell, we are from 3 countries, so from Hungary, Poland, and Serbia. In terms of the specific objectives, there are some. The first is to enhance the capabilities, skills, and knowledge on internationalization through public procurement for partner countries by focusing on the field of eco and bioenergy, renewable energy, and environmental technologies. We would like to develop a fully fledged internationalization strategy and link to them implementation roadmap in terms of long-term cooperation agenda. As mentioned, the countries are mainly Asian countries because in the earlier project, these countries seem the most promising for our client. We do have a system already set up upon the result of the earlier project, and we would like to further develop these services, and we would like to deepen our previously established and existing relationships with the local stakeholders in these countries. In this project, we have some thematic work packages and some software packages. This project is 32 months long and started last July. The thematic work packages are the following. In the first work package, where we are now, we try to enhance the capabilities and knowledge on our clients and the clusters as well on international procurement market. The next work package has already started. That is about to develop a comprehensive internationalization strategy and implementation roadmap. And the last will be about the internationalization process itself and the business development in international public procurement. These work packages are supported by the software packages, which are the usual dissemination, awareness raising, project management, and coordination. As mentioned, this internationalization strategy building has already started, let's say in 2017, when those projects were running. One was the Cluster Go International program, also supported by COSME project, with focusing on eco and bioenergy, renewable energy, and environmental technology. And our organization was involved in another program, which is the European Strategic Cluster Partnership for Smart Specialization Investment, and the European Strategic Cluster Partnership for Excellence, which now is also utilized in this project. As the task which we already completed, we were updating the list of potentially collaborative partners. We have recontacted them and started to conclude new strategic agreements or cooperative agreements with these partners. We have set the so-called monitoring scoreboard. We have some ambitious goals. For example, we would like to reach at least 450 SMEs who would be engaged in the services. They will get automatic tendering alert. They will get newsletters, any updates on the market. We will create international strategy for them. We will help them to have it, and we will organize similar webinars and trainings to make them capable to internationalize and to go on public procurement processes. We would like to have at least 7 SMEs who apply for public procurement in these countries. We do have any specifications, so we don't mind if more public procurements are submitted, for example, in the Vietnamese market. It depends on the profile and the matchmaking partners of these countries. We have already completed capacity building activities. It happened last November in Budapest. We were taught about the public procurement processes in the relevant countries, and now we are in the phase of sharing this knowledge and spreading this information towards our client. We were doing 2 surveys, so conducted 2 surveys, one among the stakeholders in our countries. It seems that the Asian markets are not that known by these stakeholders in Hungary, Serbia, and Poland. So there are not too many collaboration directly with Asian organizations. So we see here the niche to to complete this and to have this gap disappearing. They tend to have seminars, webinars, conferences, but not on the field of public procurement. So again, this is a niche for them. And usually they don't have international market studies on these target countries. So we see that we can really fulfill this gap. At the cluster members level, so the business level, we also experienced that they tend not to attend international public procurement, so they usually operate at local or regional level, though they are interested to nurture contact with Asian markets as well, but obviously this local and regional dimension is easier for them. They are open for networking activities, but it's always a question of time whether they can allow to take part in conferences or to go to international delegation or such programs. Their main interest is eco and bioenergy, renewable energy, and environmental technologies. We have set up our project website. We still operate the previous project website, but you can try this website as well. We are now boosting with new services. So for example, the tender alert tool is being now developed on the website, and the newsletter functionality as well. So you can, in the coming weeks, you can sign up, and then you will get automatically the tenders according to your selection. So the complete reduction, we had this survey, we designed the website, we were organizing some missions already. We have completed a mission in Israel, and we will be traveling to Singapore, Vietnam, and Taiwan in September. This is now for the cluster members and the negotiation with the local stakeholders. But next year we will take along some SMEs with us. So if in the audience there are SMEs who would like to join our mission next year, then please let us know. We do have now a list of stakeholders, and we are in negotiating one to create common events and common actions in the future. For the recent future, we will have some more webinars in the summer. So there will be webinars in the Taiwanese market, maybe Singapore as well. We will kick off this tender alert and newsletter service, and we will organize at cluster level some workshops in Hungary, in Novi Sad, and in Warsaw as well. They are dedicated to create the internationalization strategies. I think this was it. Yes, and I can then continue with the cluster introduction, I think. Yes, because it is
Yes.
7 minutes to go. So I will even speed up. If you can open. Obviously, you can raise questions, and if there is no time now, we can then later answer in email, or we can give you a call.
Yeah, it's on, but I think it's a bit slow, the internet.
Okay.
Maybe you can just start, and the slide will pop up in a few minutes. Yeah, few seconds.
I'm opening just a second. Okay, so in few words about Archenerg cluster. Archenerg cluster is Hungarian. Oh, we can't see it. So it's an international cluster for renewable energy and building trade. The main aim is to facilitate the development of smart energy in the region and to increase the impact, and we would like to create economic value as well, of course. We are located in Szeged. This is in the southern part of Hungary, but we do have offices or representative in Canada as well, and in Romania, and we are really in close cooperation with Serbia. This is a gold medal cluster, as we are operating in 15 years. Sorry. We do have almost 90 members, and they are mainly small companies, but we do have medium-sized companies and some large companies as well. The main focus areas of these companies or members: solar energy, geothermal energy, biomass, building industry, waste to energy, and some other sectors, for example, hemp. We have already completed 40 projects, and we do have lots of knowledge management, research sharing, and so on in this project. We were and we have been working with 150 companies, and we have settled more than 400 agreements with the partnership. We are part of two big European programs. This is European Strategic Cluster Partnership and European Strategic Cluster Partnership for Smart Specialization Investment. Obviously, we do have the standard cluster services. For example, we help our client to get access to finance, public funding, research funding. In this specific program, we are then targeting tendering, and we would like to help the clients to expand their businesses in general. We are quite well embedded in the national and international ecosystem as well. We do have the logos of some major cooperative partners. Our internationalization strategy is based on the regional strategy. As mentioned, we are in the southern part of Hungary. This is called Southern Great Plain. The nickname is Knowledge Region of Hungary. We are quite well fitting to the national smart specialization strategy, and with the focusing of clean and renewable energy, sustainable environmental and agricultural innovation. At international level, recently we concluded 50 collaboration agreements with many international partners. We are focusing not only on these Asian countries, but also India and Canada as well. Within this internationalization, we do have a special service package. So first, always we identify the internationalization needs of our SMEs, and we assess the readiness level of these SMEs for internationalization. We have then creating the business development strategy. Beyond, we organize for them webinars, trainings on business development, IPR, public procurement, and their services. And of course, we help them in the human and financial resource planning. And we are for matchmaking, so we are creating the profile alongside with the SMEs and try to find partners abroad for them. So we do run offline and on the spot offline and online brokerage events as well. And regularly we run B2B missions. My colleague just attended Iran and in India on such business trips. Obviously, our main aim is facilitate the internationalization, this research, development, innovation, and tendering. I think that was it. Usually we do run project, and this project help the implementation of this service package. So thank you. I give the word to my colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Patricia. Yes, so I think the next one will be Mirjana. So we will be sharing your slides, Mirjana, and just let us know when you want us to move to the next one. And I just want to tell you that it would be good to wrap up in 10 minutes. So we have still time for 1 or 2 questions at the very end.
Okay, Nora, thank you for inviting us to this, cluster Ecopanonia from Serbia to this very interesting webinar. And we would like to show you some few first outcomes of our cluster's internationalization strategy. Next, please. First, I would like, and next also, I would like to present our cluster. So we are the partner of this project from Serbia. Serbia is not the member of European Union, so we are the only partner that is not the member from the member state. Cluster is from Serbia, from the north part next to Hungary, from Vojvodina, from the town Novi Sad. And I would like to share with you that our town is the European Capital of Culture this year. We are very proud on this. And the cluster mission are innovation as a first, then to implement eco standards, to increase competitiveness, and to develop capacity and efficiency of the cluster and our members. Next, please. Vision. Okay, the vision is education, presentation, awareness of the importance of renewables and ecology, fundraising, helping our members in financial assets, consulting on practical problems. Next, please. We are in 4 EU-funded projects. These projects are linked together. So first cost managed, then to which develop our competencies. The next one, which was focused on market research on East Asian countries. And this one, Greenerg-Pro, is just now in the operation. Next, please. About clusters. So we have 36, even to now more members. We link economy, companies, faculties, this is research, and institutions and states. And we try to help in production, education, and in institutions in supporting decision-making process in Serbia. Next. Here are our members. The very important member is our University of Novi Sad. We have a strong technical science, faculty of technical science. Then next, please. Here you see also Record Air, the Geofire, Alma Mons. I would mention also hydrotherming, Hemodome, and others. Next. And few basic facts for Serbia. Serbia is in total foreign trade in the last year was about $60,000 million. It was increase of about 30% compared to the previous year, but is really a big success in these years. Exports of goods was about 25,000 million. It also increased about 30%, and import was about 33,000 million, also increased about 28%. And the coverage of imports by export is 75%. Next. Here it is the structure of our partners in exports and imports, and you see that we trade a lot. We export to Germany, then to Bosnia and Herzegovina, Italy, China, and Hungary, and we import from China, Germany, from Russian, and Italy and Turkey. Next. And so the most our trading export partners are from European Union, the member states, about 60%, and then the CEFTA countries. And the mainly export products are agriculture, electrical machinery and apparatus, oil and petroleum products, road vehicles, and beverages. Thank you. Next. Structure of exports. So we are the country with the most cultivated land in Europe, and also in this year you can imagine how important is this. So our export goods are electrical machines, and then vegetables and fruits. So food is very important. And then iron and steel, metal, and cereals. Next. And concerning Vietnam, the export of Serbia goes through inorganic chemicals, precious metal, compounds, isotope, then tobacco and manufacturers of tobacco, then residues, waste of food industry, animal fodder, then commodities not specified, and arms and ammunition, and wood and articles of wood. Next, please. We did also one survey of our members and organizations who are using our services about their need for internationalization and going to the foreign market, especially Asia. And the answer showed that the trade with Asia is very, very low, that the knowledge is low, and that they need international business strategies, training, and networking with partners to enter new markets of Far Eastern Asia. Next. And then we made the roadmap of our activities for this year. This is this survey that we already have finished. Then we would like to design and implement a website of the project. And we are responsible in this project for this, and the site is already done. But the next stage is for the next year that we should also develop the services to alert our members about any new tenders that they are interested in connected with the country they select. And also we would like to create new newspapers about news in the field of renewables and energy efficiency. Then we have to do missions to selected countries, Israel, Singapore, Vietnam, and Taiwan. We go to collect data about public procurement rules and creating connections with companies there. We already were in Israel. We will make a list of contacts and organize webinar for cluster members and other organization and sharing about our knowledge that we would gain. The next, please. The next year is the year when we will do training, where then we will present updated market strategies. So I mentioned that we already investigated the markets, but now for those countries that are mentioned, we will add this internationalization services part with focus on public procurement procedures. And then we will start this newspaper, and we will have international workshop in Warsaw, in our town. In Warsaw, we will create joint internationalization strategy. Novi Sad, it will be finalized, and then it's following webinar for cluster members with all these details. And next, please. This is to 2024 year. It will be a pilot support department. We will set up be as a partnership from this project. It will be for technical assistance in the process of bidding, online advisory services. Then we will create a guideline about public procurement, in target countries, webinar for cluster members and others who are interested, and we will create a catalog of best practices to teach them how to do this in the best way. Next, please. And thank you very much. I hope that this partnership and this project will lead us to the real results, and that our members and companies will enter your markets, and not only that we would enter your markets, but also that you come to our markets and that we know each other better and have results with the goal to improve the standard and the living of our citizens. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Mirjana. And then I would like to now give back the floor to Eva for a short presentation to hear from her cluster as well. And then we will wrap up with the Q&A.
Thank you, Nora. I'm back again just for a couple of minutes and want to present Baltic Eco Energy Cluster in a nutshell. I think the presentation will be uploaded, yes? Shall I do this? It will be uploaded. Okay. Or
it's up to you. You can share your screen.
Okay, maybe it will be faster. Okay, so I will quickly share the presentation. Okay, so here very briefly who we are and what we do. We are a cluster that gathers actors from renewable energies in general. There are companies, SMEs mainly, that focus their businesses in smart grids, in smart energy systems, in renewable energy technologies. There are producers, installators, project developers, but also some financial institutions. And what is very important, there are 10 scientific institutions, research institutes and universities from our region. It's mostly northern part of Poland, but we are also expanding towards the central part of our country. We have, with our research center located close to Warsaw, to the capital, we have a network of companies that we cooperate with also there. We are very active in let's say in policy development and governance. We cooperate with local authorities, but also with ministries, and we try to be part of strategies that are developed in Poland in regards, of course, to energy issues. As we have as the coordinator of the cluster, the Institute of Fluid Flow Machinery of Polish Academy of Sciences and other strong scientific partners, it's from very beginning what we do in the cluster is mainly developing R&D and innovation projects, also looking for funding such projects from outside sources, as they are projects that connected to risks, and they are not to be implemented at once. So we first focused on regional funding, then spread to national, and now we are very active with our members in Horizon 2020 projects and other projects, programs financed by European Union. But we also now, as we see the benefits of such cooperation with industrial and research partners from abroad, we also want to focus on the countries outside Europe. Next slide, please. Second and the last one. So please, I have to ask myself to do this. Okay, so this is what we want to do with our members now, to spread around the globe, let's say, and look for the partners, business partners, but also partners in developing innovative solutions on other continents. So Southeast Asia is thanks to projects that we already complemented with within our European Strategic Cluster Partnership, Archenerg, we see a huge potential. So that's why we are here now, and we hope that we will have a chance to cooperate together. Okay, thank you very much. I know we are out of time, so no more words from me.
Thank you, Eva, and yes, it was very nice to hear from all of you. Yes, we ran out of time a bit, but I believe it's because we had a lot to share. So let's try to consider this still a good news. So now we are arriving to the Q&A session. Just wanted to inform you, the participants, that the helpdesk has a couple of publications that we think that it could be relevant for today's webinar participants. I don't know, I cannot see it on the screen yet, but we will put it up soon. It's related to, we have an IP fact sheet on Vietnam. We have also, and yes, I see it now, IP fact sheet on Vietnam. A guide on IP consideration in the clean tech industry, and then 2 publications related to if you want to protect your patent in the international way, so through the PCT, or your trademark through the Madrid system. So it's just here for you to check, and if you are interested, feel free to download it. It's on our website. And then I will keep the Q&A very short. So one question for Hung, it's a very interesting question, so I was curious to know your opinion. What should an applicant pay attention when they are applying for protection of a sound sign?
Right, well, thank you, Nora. The sound mark is a new provision under the Vietnamese amended IP law that came out last week. And right now, I have to say that even though the law is there, but the and implementing the sound mark examination procedure remains so new to Vietnam, and I believe that Vietnamese authority IP office don't have a mechanism to examine the sound mark. Having said that, because Vietnam is the first to file country, I do encourage anyone who has a sound mark to to file the mark as soon as possible. And in the application dossier, there must also be an audio file and the graphical representation of that sound, because this can be done through the musical notation or a description in words. Back to you, Nora.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much for that. Okay. I also wanted to take the chance to say hello to Agnes Konda, the director of Archenerg cluster. Hello, Agnes. I don't know if you wanted to share any comments during the Q&A. In the meantime, I thought that maybe we just wrap up with a few comments from the representative of the cluster. So maybe take the chance during this webinar now, if there is any special comment or any special message related to Vietnam that you wanted to convey to your network, to your members, then I would just leave the floor to you.
The camera is not working for me. Sorry, I am here. The camera is not working for me. I had a call, so this is why I couldn't hear the answer or hear the question.
Yes, I can see you now. Yes. So I just wanted to say hello welcome you on the webinar.
Yes.
And if you have any special comment you want to share, then is now a good moment.
I appreciate it. It was a fantastic event. I really enjoyed, and thank you every speaker to participate. Yes, it was really, really. We get a lot of information, so we will forward it to our members. Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Agnes.
Thank you.
So I don't know.
Sorry,
Yes,
I'm just wondering whether the representative of Goose project, which is a parallel running project and targeting the same market in Vietnam, if they wish to say something, because earlier we were talking about this, if they would like to.
Actually, I was checking and I didn't see him online, so that's why I didn't call.
Okay. Okay.
He said that he will try to make it, but probably finally it was not possible.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to give them the chance for this. Okay.
Yes, right. Okay, so I don't know if you, Patricia, Eva, or Mirjana, if you have any comments that you want to share, then
I just would like to say thank you, really, for Nora's team as well, because it was really great to help us and to introduce your activities. But I think you really give this a nice opportunity. And we would like to ask all the audience to follow our website because the new services will be soon available, and then we can engage them to this internationalization activity and to the public procurement. So we would like to help them to reach the target market. So we are there, and contact us. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. You can copy now in the chat the website so everyone can see. And then we will send out a thank you email to all participants, and we will include this website in the thank you email so they can access to it. Eva or Mirjana, any final comments from you or any questions?
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Do you hear me? Okay. So it was very interesting and useful. To the previous project, I visited Vietnam and also delegation or cluster. We were impressed by the country, how fast is Vietnam developing. And our members have big interest to actions, and I hope that the next step would be to organize B2B meetings between companies from Vietnam and from Serbia, and because I appreciate and like working on the projects, you funded projects and other projects. I'm inviting your organization to help us to find partners for Horizon or COSME or other programs funded by EU, and maybe can force and propose special programs between Vietnam and, for example, Serbia or Poland, because some countries Israel has it. So these are bilateral programs. So we can, as a conclusion, we could propose to European Commissions to develop such bilateral programs, or maybe Serbia, Poland, Hungary with Vietnam. It could be, but I can send the topic we are interested, and you can help us to find partners for Horizon to work together on very, very interesting topics. For example, what we do now is hemp, making biomass pellets from the hemp. This is a wonderful resource for renewable, for the energy, for the heating, which is much better than the wood, and which gives 20 times more oxygen than wood. Okay, that's from
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mirjana, for your comments, and yes, Eva, any?
I would just like to thank you as well, and this was just a highlight of opportunities that that are there on the Vietnam's market, and I hope that we all attracted our participants to at least to explore more and go deeply into the information that was given, and hopefully there will be some real effects of this. We are there to help. We will try to find out more. We have now great partners that have a lot of information on the market, about the market. So hopefully there will be a follow-up of this first webinar. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for everyone. And yes, the project is based in Vietnam. So if you come for a mission to Vietnam, please feel free to reach out, and we would be happy to do another event later on with more specific topics, or just to focus on other aspects. So yes, happy to discuss that. And also special thank you for Hung for making it and sharing his expertise on IPR related to green procurements. It was really an added value to today's session. And with that, I would like to close the session. Thank you for all participants for joining, and we will share the recording with all of you later on. Thank you very much, and have a nice evening, nice afternoon, depending where you are. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Dora, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.